Chad Prather rose to internet fandom as the man who's unapologetically Southern.
Heath Oaks is a published author who failed his way to success.
Together, they tackle today's headlines in a way only a Southern Spitfire and a millennial mogul can.
Take off your sport coat, grab a beer, and enjoy the conversation.
This is Second Shot with Chad Prather and Heath Oaks.
Hey everybody, Chad Prather here. Welcome to another episode of Second Shot. Sitting here with my buddy Heath Oaks. What's going on, pal?
Man, just another day in paradise. I'm just still like loving and living in my life of my Packers beating the Cowboys like they did. It just makes so much better in life.
You're going to just carry that thing on for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
All the Cowboys fans were running their mouth when they scored that touchdown there at the end, and I'm looking at them going, guys, there's a minute 13, one timeout, we have Aaron Rodgers. You need to chill.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
Heath almost got beat up after that game.
Yeah, some old man tried to fight me at the end of it. I was like, calm down, dude.
Yeah, relax.
Break a hip.
Come on.
Well,
nice socks, by
you
the
know,
way.
you and I were planning on going to the Packers-Lions game in November.
Yep.
But, since I've got my boycott going, I can't.
Yep.
Still think you might make it out to Green Bay. I heard there's other attractions there.
No, there's not.
No, there's nothing.
Absolutely
in
nothing
Green Bay.
else.
nothing.
I'm doing a show there November 4th. That'll be about it. But no, there's really nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing
Lambeau
there.
Field.
Lambeau Field's about it.
No
and,
offense,
the
Green
frozen
Bay.
tundra. That's about it. But I love football. I love college football. My teams have done well. Clemson and Georgia have done pretty well this year, and I've enjoyed. I always enjoy college football more. But
I was pumped about my Longhorns this weekend. They did well.
But the other week, something happened with one of my favorite players in the NFL. A guy by the name of J.J. Watt.
Yes.
Read this headline.
Houston's Texas, J.J. Watt. Texans, good Lord. Texans out for J.J. Watt out for the season with tibial plateau fracture in left leg. Houston Texans coach Bill O'Brien confirmed Monday that the defensive end will miss the remainder of the season with the tibial plateau fracture he sustained Sunday night against the Kansas City Chiefs. I can't sugarcoat it. I am devastated, says J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt is so tough, though. He'll probably go home and grow another leg. Yeah. He's just the guy is just resilient. I hate that.
Universally loved by everybody.
Everybody. He's a class act. He's always good with the fans. He's a charismatic guy. He's a great spokesperson for the NFL. I wish there were more guys like him.
He's just a great spokesperson for anybody. Yeah,
for life. He's done so much for the state of Texas, and the guy set out to raise $250,000 after Hurricane Harvey and raised over $30 million. So
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy. But that tibial fracture right there is down around the ankle. Fortunately, it wasn't his knee.
Yep.
Because that could have been career-ending.
Yep.
Right there.
Yep.
And we don't need J.J. Watt. If the NFL doesn't bankrupt itself and go out of business in the next season anyway, with all this stupidity they've pulled on the managerial side, especially on the PR side, we need J.J. Watt around for a little while.
And when I read that headline, the biggest thing to me you see this in life in general, how people will try to grapple with when bad things happen to good people.
Right.
And trying to understand why. Whether it happens to you personally, whether you've lost somebody that you didn't feel like you should have, or you lost your job when you didn't feel like you did, when you put the work in and you honestly felt like, why is this? Or you watched somebody, like him go through it and you go, man, why? J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Like, why does something like that happen? And I think a lot of people get messed up over it because they keep going into like, why, trying to understand it.
Yeah.
What's your thought process behind it?
Well, first of all, let me add another element to that. A lot of times we see ourselves as being a little bit invincible, like, well, that's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
Then it does. J.J. Watt, we're like, hey, J.J. Watt can't get hurt. Mm-hmm. Nobody can hurt J.J. Watt.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden it happens. But let's face it, into every life a little rain's going to fall. I mean, things are going to happen. What do you do with that? And you're right. Sometimes it feels insurmountable. We know by the level of things like suicide that happen in this country. People just don't know how to recover from things that come our way in life. And I've told you this a million times. I've hit rock bottom so many times that when you get down there, you can see my name signed on the wall 3 or 4 times. So I know what that's like. I don't know that I won't be there again. I hope not. It's not a fun place to be. But I know that through every one of them, I've learned something.
Yep.
I grew from it. I know that if I had, and I think I've said this to you before, if I had the level of success that I'm enjoying now when I was 24 versus 44, I would not handle it the same way.
Yep.
I had to hit rock bottom in my 20s and 30s a few times, especially my 30s, because I don't know that I would appreciate. So now the things that come my way are more humbling.
Yeah.
And I'm more grateful and thankful and appreciative, and I it doesn't puff me up. It doesn't give me the big head, so to speak. But
I go back to. Have you ever? I mean, you probably do. General Stockdale.
Mm-hmm.
The General Stockdale Paradox is something that I always go to with this. And my quote with Steve Jobs that I love, where he always says, "You can never connect the dots forwards, only backwards."
Yeah.
And how many times in your life, when you look at it and you can connect every dot backwards and see how it lined up to meet you perfectly. But the General Stockdale Paradox, he was a POW for like 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the only one to make it out. There's like 50 people in there with him. And they, when he come out, they said, "How did you make it and nobody else did?" Was it just optimism? And he goes, "No, everybody had, there were people that were optimistic. However, this is the way I handle it." Well, he said the other people, this is what they would do. By Christmas, we're getting out. Mm-hmm. Christmas would come and go. They wouldn't, and they'd crush them. Easter, we're getting out. They'd come and go and crush them until their spirits were just crushed. He goes, "I was optimistic. However, here's what I did. You have to face the reality, the current brutal reality of your situation. Yeah. You have to face that and own it. That my situation right now sucks.
Yeah.
My leg's broke. I'm out for the season. That's true. I got to own that, realize it."
Mm-hmm.
Next is just have faith you will prevail in the end. Have faith that it's for a better reason.
Yeah.
Have faith that at the end of this day, whether I know when that's going to come or not, I know I will prevail. And he goes, what that did for me is I faced the brutal facts of my current reality. Mm-hmm. It sucked. I was a POW. This was miserable. I didn't try to sugarcoat how bad it was. However, I did have faith that in the end, when that day come, whether it was now, 10 years from now, whenever, I would prevail. I would walk out of here.
Yeah, there are people who are listening to this right now, and you're laid up. I don't mean necessarily physically, but maybe it's a mental, emotional, maybe it's a spiritual. Things have been done to you. Maybe you're looking at a bankruptcy. Maybe you're looking at a loss. Nope. Maybe you're looking at a death in the family, somebody close to you. Either way, trials have come. You're sitting there, and you're going, I can't face this anymore. I can't do this.
Yep.
It blindsided me.
Yep.
And now what do? I get those messages every day. I would love to come to your show, but man, we just wrecked our truck, and now it's going to cost us everything because we weren't properly insured. And sometimes I'll get those messages, and I'll say, come to the show. If you can get to the show, come to the show. There'll be tickets waiting on you.
Yep.
But which is nothing other than to say, hey, look, I want to remind you there are people out there that are going to help you and give you hope. All I can give you is a couple of tickets to come laugh for a couple hours. But it gets better. It gets better.
It does, and it's, you can't look at the whole mountain. You may be in this deep hole of going where you want to be is so far out of reach that you can't understand it.
Yeah.
But I think it does start with facing the current reality that your situation is not where you want it to be.
Right.
It's brutal. It's ugly. It's nasty. J.J. Watt said that my leg's broke. I'm out for the year, whatever. But you know what? Maybe J.J. Watt goes, now I got more time to be involved in this fund that I raised, that I can really be out here in the community doing what's really more important than football, which is helping people get their lives back together. Maybe that was why it happened to him, because he's going to do something bigger than what the game of football is, And I think that when you face your current reality and you have faith you're going to prevail, take it one step at a time. It takes so long and so many base camps to climb Mount Everest, to get to that one little part of it, how long that trail is. It ain't just like you just climb up the mountain. So face your current facts. I think look at that one step forward that can start making a difference, whether it is if I just start saving $10 a week, maybe I can, in 2 years, cannot be living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And then in 2 years you go, maybe I put this aside, invest it here, and then you one step at a time. But you got to face the current facts, and you got to realize it ain't going to, don't be going, I'm going to be out of this hole by December. I'm going to be out of it by Easter. Just go, in the end, I'm going to prevail.
Yeah, and the Bible says that a hope deferred makes the heart sick. If you're always looking at something, this is going to, by then it'll be, don't do that. Don't do that. Get yourself straight mentally. Know that broken bones heal, and a lot of times when they heal, if they're reset properly, they heal stronger than they were before they were broken. So that's a reality in the rest of your life as well. All right, take a quick break. We'll be right back on the second segment of Second Shot.
He likes cowboy hats and boots.
And he's a suit and tie kind of guy. Chad Prather and Heath Oaks host more of Second Shot coming up on RNCN.
Ready, aim, fire. Second Shot is back for another round on the Real News Communications Network.
I'll be honest with you, I want to stay on this NFL thing for a little bit longer because there is a story that Heath has discovered, and we talked about this thing a while back, and oh my gosh.
Well, it happened. It happened a week or so ago. Now
I just can't. I can't get my mind wrapped around how stupid some people are.
You got to just play the news clip to explain the story. It's the best. They explain it the best.
Listen up. USA Today. Listen.
The Miami Dolphins are investigating a video which just surfaced Sunday night, which reportedly shows offensive line coach Chris Forrester snorting a powdery substance. The Miami Herald reports a team spokesman said, "We were just made aware of the video and will have no comment at this time." Forrester can be seen in the video talking straight into the camera as he does 3 lines of the white stuff. Forrester says in the video, "Hey babe, miss you, thinking about you. How about me going to a meeting and doing this before I go?" He was allegedly speaking to Kiwana Nije, a model based out of Las Vegas. The video was posted on her Facebook. On Facebook, she says, "I really don't do this often, but since it's NFL Sunday, let's talk about these coaches, folks." According to the Miami Herald, a source familiar with the layout of offices within the Dolphins
Look at
facility
this fool.
says the video seems to take place at a Dolphins office. Forrester has worked 24 seasons in the NFL for 8 different teams.
Wow. I can tell you what that white substance was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't snorting baby aspirin, I promise you.
Yeah.
BC powder.
Where do you think you come into thinking that here's a good idea? Let me video myself snorting the white substance in my office talking about, oh, what do you think about when I go to my meeting after snorting this? Like,
All tuned
it sounds
up.
so like 16-year-old like kid stupid. Like,
I mean, first of all, you look at this guy. Here's an older white dude. I mean, the guy's been around for a minute, and he's obviously trying to impress this model out of
Las Vegas.
Who she totally took it and
Just outed
I mean,
him.
come on, dude. I mean, did you really think this guy is like the guy that goes to the strip club and thinks the strippers
Is in
actually
love with him.
love him?
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, she's into me. I mean, she's into your money.
But how do you get to that level of stupidity? Like, where in life does happen that goes, I want to be this stupid today, and I want to video like, in today's world, there's enough video cameras out there to video you doing something dumb for you to post yourself doing something illegal in where you work, just completely being stupid.
Looking right at the camera.
At the camera.
Mean mugging it.
Yeah, like how does he not think?
Well, first of all, I mean, I don't know if the guy's married. I don't know what's going on. Is this a I mean, he's in trouble on a lot of levels. I mean, I'm sure there's got to be some legal ramifications.
Well, it's white substance. Nobody could ever prove what it is.
Well, they make him pee in a cup.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the Dolphins can, and then it becomes a whole.
Well, he's
deal.
fired already.
He's fired.
Sure.
He's gone. Yeah, he's out of here. I mean, can you imagine? Your heart just drops. You see this thing, and you're like, oh. Suddenly, that stupidity comes rushing into your brain, and you go, "What was I thinking?" Well, you weren't thinking.
Yeah, what
stupid.
happens there? How do you have a lapse of judgment that bad? I mean, because the guy's got to have some level of sense in order to be, at the highest level of a coach for that many years. You got and never being in trouble. I mean, that we know of it. Never been like it. I don't know who he is, but you have to have some level of sense to all of a sudden have this lapse of.
Well, now here's the first thing: the fact that the guy is snorting a white substance,
maybe
period,
he hasn't had a level of sense.
Is stupid.
Yeah.
So I mean, come on. I understand everybody's got their demons and does their thing, and that's whatever. I'm not excusing any of that. That ultimately you got to deal with yourself on that. But this guy's not thinking.
No.
And so I oftentimes sit back and wonder, and I scratch my head and I look at things that people do, and I go, you weren't thinking when you did that, did you? They say, for instance, whenever a guy is sexually aroused, that his IQ drops by 37%. That's why guys make a lot of stupid mistakes when they're doing things like that. You add alcohol to something like that on a typical Saturday night.
White substance.
Now you're really making stupid decisions.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I tell people all the time, not all the time, but I've said to young guys, I've said you really need to keep your head about you. Rudyard Kipling said you need to. I won't start quoting poetry here, but basically he says, you got to keep your head about you when everybody around you is losing theirs.
Yep.
And so it's real easy to fall into temptation, and that's what this guy did, trying to be Billy Badass.
I would
and
love.
show
I
off.
would love to know if she baited him to get that,
Right.
or if he just did that.
You know, here I have no idea, but here's a scenario I can envision. He's out in Vegas, he's having a good time, he meets this girl, they go off, and maybe they do something like that, or they're at a party, you know, they're doing it. So he thinks, oh, this is okay. This is cool. This is cool for me to do this with her. Who knows? This guy may have never done that before.
I have a feeling to do 3 of those lines. Come
But
on
yeah,
now.
I mean, we know he did. We know he did.
Yeah.
We know he
But
did.
my thing is this: I talk about it a lot in today's world, whether it's text messages, whether it's emails, whether it's videos, whether it's anything. Before you send a text talking about anybody, like here's the little things that it can cause in your personal life. That if you are heated at the time with a friend or something, and you send to another friend some stuff really talking bad about them, and you're just heated at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Nothing on the level of this, but that could be shown to that person at some point or another. Like you have to have the reality that you video yourself, you put anything in writing, email, text, or anything, that can be public ASAP. And anybody and everybody can do. And I always meant never put anything in writing that you are not okay with everybody seeing.
Everybody's going to see it. Ask Anthony Weiner.
yeah.
Ask Anthony Weiner. Now he's in jail.
But honestly, where do you how does he come back from this? Does he? I mean, this is
No, I don't think you do.
That one's rough.
I don't think you do. I mean, I say that, and then again, I look at Mike Vick. I mean, Michael Vick came back. They got, here's Michael Vick on whatever sports show he's doing talking. I'm like, how did Michael Vick ever become a thing ever again after doing what he did with the dogfighting ring?
But second chances are something that should be real, don't
they
you think?
should be
I mean,
real.
don't you think
They
that
should be real.
if somebody does
100%
their deal,
I
comes
believe
back
that.
from it, anybody can come back from it if they genuinely.
But you can't come back. It's hard for me to believe that, on a personal level, yes. It's hard for me to believe that we live in a world where somebody can come back to that big of a public level. Because it's almost like, hey, you were given a platform, you completely abused it. Why should you ever get that again? Because the damage has been done. That is out there now. That's influencing people. That will never go away. That story right there.
Yeah.
Who knows who, so how many kids are out there passing this video around going, hey, man, this is so funny. And now it becomes something. Because here's the deal. If you can laugh at something, you can learn to live with something.
Yep.
And so the damage is done. You don't know. You don't know what this. So I look at something like that and I say, again, I go back to the dog fighting. People say, man, Mike Vick did it. Let's go get some dogs. Let's run a ring. No matter how you go to prison, you do all those things, it never goes away. So I don't think you really should be given that platform ever again.
Well, I have a feeling. I think you have to think about these things in your life today, and in the little hiccups that come up. Be careful what you put in a text message, what you put in an email. Or video, and some of the biggest troubling things to me are all of these pictures and things being sent and all the younger generation of people doing it, that how long those things can stay with you, because no matter what you put on or put out there, like you said, that video is never going to get to be erased from anybody, because everybody has it saved somewhere, like forever, no matter what that's coming up. You got to be very, very careful. Do not go full-blown stupid, guys.
Yeah, don't.
If you're listening to this, please don't go full-blown stupid, because that dude just went full-blown stupid.
And you want to say the line from the actual movie. You don't want to go full-blown. But that's why people ask me all the time, you ever considered running for office? No.
No. I don't need
fine
anything
just sitting
brought
here
up.
on, Facebook and podcasts. And
I'm just so
whatever.
glad when I was 16, 17 that social media was not around.
Nope. All right, we got to take a break. We're going to come back to the third segment. You guys are awesome. Thanks for listening, and we'll be right back with Second Shot.
Now that's what I call ignorance on fire. More of Second Shot with Chad and Heath still to come. Kick off your boots or suit up. The choice is yours. Welcome back to Second Shot with Chad and Heath on RNCN.
I am sitting here looking out the window from the lofty fifth floor studios of the RNCN, looking at the President George Bush Turnpike, where just 2 weeks ago I wrecked my truck.
You did?
I did.
I didn't know that.
I didn't tell you. I was on the way to do a benefit.
I bet you weren't
thing.
looking at your phone or nothing, were you?
Not a bit. I make no admission of guilt. Siri and I were having a conversation.
Oh.
I was, You know how traffic gets out here on this road. And I was coming to a benefit. I was speaking that night for pediatric cancer for Carson's, I'm going to mess it up, Carson's Crusaders. I'm going to mess it up. And that's an awesome organization. They give gas cards to families that have, because that's the biggest thing. If you have a kid with pediatric cancer, you got to go to these clinics and these hospitals. A lot of times you're coming from out of town. So food, parking, and gas, they'll break you. I mean, it's just break you because these people, you have to eat out constantly. You're traveling back and forth, all this stuff, and parking fees and those other things at the hospital. But anyway, this guy stopped short right there in the traffic, and I hit that. My analog brakes didn't hold on, and I just, boom, I totaled his Volvo. Oh, wow. And I bent my bumper. Yep. I mean, it's the joys of driving a big jacked up truck.
You know what's funny? This is actually probably a good time to kind of bring up maybe some stuff about different charities. I think it would be good. Like,
let's talk about that.
Well, you know what's funny is we offer a cancer plan at Colonial Life. We do it through the deal, and one of the biggest things about our cancer plan is we pay for travel, lodging, and all of that, because that's one of the biggest things people get misunderstood about. They just think about hospital bills, and they don't think about the travel, the lodging, and everything. So we pay mileage for people traveling back and forth. We pay for hotel stays. We pay for all of those things, because those literally come up to being some of the most massive expenses. But, you know, I think that it would be a cool time to bring up some light on, like Jenny just did a story this week. You can go to Jenny Anchondo and go look at it. In My Shoes, this new...
Is she a .com? She got JennyAnchondo.com?
Yeah, Jenny, she did a story on In My Shoes, which is a brand new charity, a brand new center that just opened up and had their first patient this week. And it is mothers that are pregnant that are homeless. And they are a facility. It's the only one that just handles pregnant mothers. And they have their room, they get a stay, they get coaching, they get advice and all that. And what was interesting to me was she did a story on this lady, the very first resident. And because you may have a stigma around what you think about when it comes to homeless people. Some do. Yeah. This lady has a bachelor's degree and had many years in the insurance business, actually. She was living in, I forgot where she was living. I think she was living in Dallas, and lost her job and was looking for another job, had run out of money, and she was on her way to Houston to stay with family to get back on her feet. And Hurricane Harvey happened, wiped out all of her family's houses. Next thing you know, she's sitting here homeless, and she's 7 months pregnant. Yeah. And so it's interesting because this woman, extremely intelligent, has a degree. Life happened really weird, right? For her losing her job and then Hurricane Harvey hitting where her family was. So now she has nothing in this home, and they got a program in place to develop them after they have the baby. They get to stay 9 months or so afterwards, and they get them in courses and try to get them enrolled into business. So it's In My Shoes. They are all private donation.
Do you know if it's a .org or
I don't. I just know.
I bet if you tried InMyShoes.org, I bet it'd be close. But Google In My Shoes.
In My Shoes, and you can go to Jenny Anchondo on her Facebook or anything too, and look at the story. She did a great story about it, and I think it's a very neat organization that I cannot imagine somebody being homeless and pregnant and trying to, raise a kid and do all those things is pretty interesting. Do you have any other charities that you're really fond of?
I've got a few. You know, talking about that, I'm a big fan of the Ronald McDonald House. I've done some events with them out of Fort Worth, and they do a great job of folks who need places to stay when those kids come in. And I've met some of those kids, and of course we've done a lot of stuff with Cowboys Who Care. .org, and putting cowboy hats on kids with cancer, and that's a phenomenal thing. My heart, I'm trying to find. I'm in a place right now, and I'm trying to be patient because I'm trying to find a place to kind of park my platform, and I really want to do something with pediatric cancer because my heart breaks for those kids. It really does. There's nothing. In those kids that you see in those clinics, and I've done so many of those hospital visits and so many of those places. And, of course, my mother-in-law, she's a pediatric nurse at Cook's Hospital in Fort Worth. And that's a children's hospital, by the way. You see these kids, and they have so much more strength, resolve, and perseverance than we do as adults. Yep. It's amazing to see that. These kids, I don't know if it's just a naivety of not knowing what life really is all about at this point or how much there is.
They're not tainted by all the negative yet.
There's not. And they have an optimism that we need to garner from them.
Their ignorance on fire.
Their ignorance on fire. And there's another one. It's faith like a child. It's just believing everything is going to be all right. And so I have a heart for that. And I see these kids and I see these families and my heart breaks. but I'm also encouraged by them when I see them because it reminds me that A, things aren't always as bad as they could be, and B, things can get better.
Yep.
And oftentimes they do. And so I don't know. I look at those. I work with a lot of those different those charities, and we've done some things. And of course, I will tell you this though. It was something that a lot of people don't know. I don't know the current estimate, but I want to say there's like 506,000 organizations out there that are dedicated to military and veterans, and a lot of those you need to be careful when you go to those because a lot of them are not doing what they say they're doing. So I always encourage, because I do a lot of benefits in military charities.
A lot of people will ask me, how do you decide on which charities and stuff to give to? You got to Google them. Yeah. It's very easy. And a charity should not be running that 30 cents on your dollar is going back to them. I mean, if a charity is running because here's what we got to understand. Not every dollar, not 100% of your dollar is going to go, because they're going to have to pay some people to help run, manage, and do those things. Sure. But if something is 70 cents or higher of your dollar is going to help, they're running a pretty great organization. But I also want to challenge everybody, to go get involved in one or two charities and give back. And maybe you don't have any money, but go give your time. Yeah. Go to the events. I mean, my wife works. My wife puts in an extreme amount of hours, early mornings to late days. Now we have a baby, but yet she is still going and volunteering her time to speak or MC to bring awareness to probably 1 to 2 different events a week when she would much rather be in bed. However, bringing awareness to these causes are huge. So it's, even if you don't have money, if you're not involved, I think if everybody would just go get involved with one and pushing awareness and helping to give back, I think things would be drastically different.
I encourage people as well on an international level, because this matters. If your light is bright at home, it should shine far away as well. And so Compassion International is something that we're involved with. We have the adopted children that we support around the country, and they just feed starving children. And 86, 87 cents on the dollar goes to them, and you can actually go to compassion.com/Chad Prather, and for $38 a month you can sponsor a kid. And it makes we visited those countries, we visited those kids, and let me tell you, it makes a huge difference. We've traveled to those places and visited with those kids we sponsor, so it makes a difference.
I know you feel the same way, but I can tell you that if you go give your time to around helping some of these, you will do nothing but come back and be really revived. Like giving your time back and being around and seeing situations that will make you more grateful, or make you feel more blessed, and it'll make you happier in general. Because when you get to help somebody else out, you can't continue to be negative and feel sorry for your own self. You're going to start coming up out of that hole.
Y'all want to listen to me get a rise out of Heath Oaks? If you live in the Dallas area and you go to a fundraiser for a charity in the Dallas and they're having an auction, stop drinking and shut up.
Yes.
During the auction.
Nothing infuriates me.
I do them all over the country, and I'm telling you, this is the worst. Dallas is the worst for people. They start socializing when the auction starts.
Purely talking in general when somebody's talking drives me nuts. Like, shut up. When somebody's up there talking, if you're at an event there with that and it's coming to bring that, shut up.
Yeah, it irritates
Just shut
me.
up and listen. It's so disrespectful to be talking on, having conversations while somebody is presenting or talking.
Those live auctions take every bit of 30 to 40 minutes. Just be quiet for a minute.
And the person that's going up there is probably giving their time back.
And you're drinking free booze.
Yes.
Just be quiet.
Just shut up.
Just get in the corner and drink your Ripple.
And then put your damn shopping cart up.
Yeah. Put it in the corral. Put it in the shopping corral.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
And shut up while others are talking.
We're not going to just start a charity. We're going to start a crusade. All right. We got to get out of here. Heath, where can I find you?
Heath Oaks or Ignorance on Fire.
All right. Find me at watchchad.com. Come find me out on the road, too. I'd love to see you on tour, and visit politicalcowboy.com, and find me on all the socials under the name Hank Moody. I love you guys, and we'll catch you next week on another episode of Second Shot.
You're listening to RNCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.